Software savings is a big thing at the moment. Budgets are decreasing, requirements are increasing. So let's have a look at my top 5 ways in which you can save physical hard cash, but also achieve some cost avoidances through software and ITAM. Now, as always, these are just my top 5. There are a whole host of ways and methods in which that you can save money on your software licenses through your ITAM function within your organization. These are just the top 5, low-hanging fruit, really easy to implement and go and do, and you can reap some big rewards from doing this. If I've missed anything or any techniques that you think are in your top 5 instead, feel free to leave that information in the comments down below and help out the ITAM community with your big wins on software savings. Now, number 1, super easy to do, even if you do not have a dedicated IT asset management tool, that is inactive software audits. You can achieve this by going through your internal software audit process. If you're lucky enough to have a dedicated IT asset management tool, you may also have some usage or metering information in there. First things first, look at those users that have the software installed, licensable software, that are not using it. Have they ever used it? If not, get it back, reclaim the license. Have they not used it in the past 30, 60 or 90 days? If so, get it back, reclaim the license. Some organizations do prefer the longer time frame on that one. If it's 30 days, they don't want to remove the software in case it's long-term leave, maternity leave, etc. So look at maybe a nice in-between, maybe 40 days, 45 days. If they haven't used it, remove the software. Now, you can actually take this to the next level. Once you've looked at the usage metering information that you've got within your ITAM tool, if you don't have it, don't worry, because the next step is what will help you even further, is conducting that internal software audit. So save yourself some time if you do have that metering. All of those that haven't used it, just count that as a removal and a license reclaim already. Next step, internal audit those people that you're not too sure on, or internally audit everyone if you don't have the metering within your organization. Simple internal audits. These can be done either automated or all the way down to manual and just email audits, whatever works for you. If you're doing email audits, simply get the list of the users, the application in question. You can even use mail merge to make this so much easier to pre-populate your template and send it out to hundreds of users at a time. Or you can put them on BCC and request that they vote. So many options. There's no excuses nowadays for not doing internal software audits. Once you've done that, make sure that anyone that voted no or anyone that is not using it, that you pass that information over to the relevant teams to actually physically remove the software, reclaim the license from various portals or reclaim the license key, etc. And then you'll be able to realize some cash savings when you come to any renewal time. You can't initially claim any cash savings because you've already paid for it, but in the modern day of subscription and SaaS licensing, you can then realize that saving when it comes to the renewal. If you've been given the authority to, you can put the license value as a cost avoidance if that's how your ITAM function is set up, and that's how your leadership team wants to view the benefits of ITAM. You can certainly put the cost avoidance in your savings tracker, show the fruits of your work by doing that internal audit. And again, it just gives you visibility at the senior leadership level, shows how great ITAM is, what a great and effective process it is, and why you're doing what you're doing. So cost savings, cost avoidances, cash savings later on. Cost avoidances, if you've got the permission, you can save that in your tracker, and then you can, clearly highlight that that's cost avoidance. And then when it comes to renewing and reducing the license count and physically saving against the budget, then you can put that in as cash savings. Next up, we have license model changes, something that used to be a really big low-hanging fruit with large software vendors, where you would change from a perpetual device license to maybe a network concurrent license, where you'd be able to buy less licenses and have more users using it. Nowadays, the options for this are few and far between, as a lot of organizations have gone to user SaaS models, but you can still have a look. What other licensing models does this vendor offer? Is there anything that could be more beneficial to us now than what we're currently using? Is there anything cheaper in the long run that would be maybe a more expensive initial outlay, but it's cheaper over the 3-year period of that agreement, or even the 1-year period of that agreement? Is there anything that we can move even a subset of users to a different licensing model so our whole team can take advantage of fewer licenses and still be efficient and use the software? Have those conversations do your own research as well, because 9 times out of 10, and sorry software vendors if you don't agree with this, but 9 times out of 10, the software vendor account manager has targets in terms of sales and revenue. So maybe looking after their own backs a little bit. But if you can do your own research on the different licensing models that software vendor provides, you'll be in a much better position to be able to make an informed decision. You can even do some modeling before you do your renewal as well, to say, if we switch this number of users or licenses over to this model, how much money could we save? Take that to your leadership team, take that to your procurement teams and say, look, we're currently on this device model. If we move to a per user model, it's going to cost us a little bit in the beginning, but over 3 years, it will save us this amount of money against the budget. Or even better, if we just move to this licensing model, we will save X amount now, not in the future. We will save this money now against the budget, and ITAM will look amazing. So please have a look, do your own research, talk to your value-added reseller or your managed service provider, whoever's doing the licensing in conjunction with your ITAM team. Or if you do have a really good relationship with the software vendor, speak to them directly as well. But do your own research first so you know what you're going into. Agreement restructuring. Now, again, this is a really interesting one. And again, historically used to be a great way of saving some money. Agreement restructuring is getting harder and harder to do at the moment, simply because software vendors are also restructuring how their agreements work. They're changing the parameters and the goalposts on which, organizations can go into certain agreements, maybe increasing the minimum spend or the minimum number of licenses so that you drop down into a lower tiered agreement with less discounts. As software vendors are increasing their prices a lot, and we are seeing a lot of this agreement restructuring done by the software vendors themselves. So much so, some clients have been 50 licenses away, which in some cases is a lot if you have a small number of licenses, but on the other hand is not a lot if you've got a big enterprise agreement where they're coming into a lower band with lower discount levels. Something that you can do in this space to try and save some money and enter into a higher band or a different agreement structure is looking at your organization as a whole globally. Don't just look at individual entities. Straight away, I know I can hear you saying, but I have to look at individual entities because that's how our organization works. If you are in that space, then yeah, this doesn't really apply to you. If you legally cannot pool all of your subsidiaries, all of your legal entities together and look at it as one whole organization and pool all of your licenses together, then yeah, sorry, ignore this bit. But if you're not restricted, get all of your entities globally that you have. Look at all of the agreements and the licenses that they have. Bring them all together, centralize it, and take that forward, because you'll be very surprised at how much money you might be able to save if you pull all of those agreements and licenses together into one global agreement that works for your whole organization. You'd be maybe not amazed, but you might be amazed or surprised at the amount of organizations that don't do this and software vendors that don't look at the organization as a whole. They just see a European legal entity, an APAC legal entity, an Australian legal entity, American legal entity. They don't join the dots and say, well, hold on, you've got 50 licenses over here, 100 over there, 1,000 over there. Why don't you just pull them together and then you can enter into our VIP or our enterprise or our premium license agreement, something like that. Because they're not looking at it from that way. They're very geographically based. They're not looking at everything as a whole. They may not even have access to look at everything as a whole. But if you can do all of that, pull all of your licenses and agreements that you have for that particular software vendor, get them together and say, we want to consolidate all of these. Our new total has gone from 50 here, 1,000 there, 100 there, etc. to 5,000 globally. You will likely see better agreement offerings and better pricing structures with bigger discounts for you. You may also be encouraged to purchase more to enter into another band, like you add on an extra 10 for future growth, and whilst you may not need them now, it will reduce the overall spend of your agreement and per unit license cost anyway, which is a bit of a win, because then if someone new joins, yes, you've got a pool of licenses, give them the license. If they've got full justification, there's no waiting around, and you're actually still winning in the long run because you're spending less per unit, even though you've purchased more licenses than you need. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, I don't say no to more licenses. Even if you don't need them, don't say no to more licenses if it reduces the overall unit price of that software and the overall cost of that agreement over the term of the agreement. You might not need them now, you might never need them, but if it's cheaper at the moment and you're looking at cost savings, do it. It doesn't matter if you've got a license, Paul. You can explain that to the senior management, explain that to your leadership team. Yes, we purchased 5 extra licenses, but we saved X amount over here. It's well worth doing. Next up, and we have a really good big interview coming out about open source and free software for the big interview in June with Rebecca Horton. Oh, spoiler alert, but it is an absolute banger. Have a look at free, open source or cheaper alternative for your licensable software. We are seeing a lot of organizations do this at the moment, and personally it's actually one of my favorite things to do in the software space at the moment, is going through looking at things like your mind mapping software, your project management software, your visual diagram, your flowchart software. There's so many options out there now whereby the licensable software doesn't justify the spend when you can get an open source, a genuine open source. Look out for that big interview as we explain what that actually means. Genuine open source software or free software for commercial use that has very similar features that may be missing one or two. But if you're saving tens of thousands of dollars, euros or pounds, it is worth moving over to it. We also did that video recently with Alex from Licenseware about the German government area that's looking to do open source operating system and using LibreOffice. Over 20,000 devices, I think it was. That's huge. And think of the savings on that on Microsoft alone. So have a look at cheaper, free, open source alternatives for some of the non-critical software applications. Again, like project management, mind mapping, all of that kind of stuff. It's even like, PDF, you don't even need Acrobat that much anymore. You can do PDFs in Word. There's other PDF creators out there as well that are free. You could even go to the extreme of looking at LibreOffice or looking at Linux as an operating system, but don't go that far. Start off small, look at those weird softwares that you have a lot of, the mind mapping, the PDF creation, even some visual graphic stuff as well. There's some really good free cheap ones. Video recording, there's OBS Studio, which is open source. There's so many ways in which you can save money now by looking at free, open source or even cheaper alternatives. So when you're coming up to that renewal time, give yourself some extra time to do that research, do some testing and see if you can add some of these free and open source software to your approved software catalog and replace it for the licensable ones. That is a really hard cash saving. And if you can show that to your leadership team that you have managed to do that, reduce the application portfolio, saved money, even maybe reduce the amount of agreements you've got, boom. Leadership team will love that. ITAM will look amazing if you can do that. So please, go forth and do that. Please have a look at those alternatives. Don't be stuck in your ways. It takes time, it takes effort, but the rewards can be really, really big. And finally, we briefly touched on it earlier, but look at that software and license consolidation. We're looking at streamlining the portfolio. We're looking at why have we got 5 applications that do the same thing? Why are we spending money with 5 different vendors for something that pretty much does the same thing when we could pool all of this into one application that's approved, save loads of money? Last, but by no means least, and we touched upon this briefly already, is that software and license consolidation. This is when you're looking and you identify that you have got 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 applications that pretty much all do the same thing. You're buying licenses for all of them. You've got agreements for all of them. Why? Why, when you can consolidate those down? Choose a winner, get rid of all the licenses for those other ones, choose your winner and make that the approved software for whatever it does, whatever function it performs. You can also then potentially leverage those increased discounts because you're buying more. You can also maybe look at different agreements as well. And again, look at your whole organization if you can. Look at all of the legal entities, all of the departments. Look through your procurement tools, do keyword searches, whatever you need to do. Try and find all of the licenses within your organization so you can bring them all together, add them to the same agreement, streamline your portfolio, streamline the amount of licenses and applications that you're buying. And again, this is a really big savings opportunity. Also has that knock-on effect for your approved software catalog, has that knock-on effect for supporting your technical teams with all the packaging and deployment and general technical support. They don't want to manage 10 plus applications that all do the same thing. They just want to manage one. And you can help do this through the software and license consolidation option. And that's just a really nice knock-on effect, along with the cost avoidances and the cash savings. Further example as to why ITAM can look amazing, especially at the moment with the current world economics and how everyone's budgets are tightening. No one's getting any more budget spent. You're being expected to do more with less. This is a really good, strong option as well for you to have a look at. So we really hope you found that useful. Like I said, that's just my top 5. You may have a completely different top 5. We could do a top 10, top 15, top 20 on ways in which you can save money through IT asset management, in particular looking at software asset management here. But yeah, please let me know your approaches. I really do hope that you found something useful, maybe something new that you can look at and implement within your organization. Please do not forget to give this video a like, and please don't forget to subscribe to the Sam Beast YouTube channel for more ITAM, SAM, HAM, FinOps, cloud-based content. We've got some absolute bangers coming up over the next few months, and we'd really love for you to see them and not miss out on them. So yeah, until next time, as always, happy ITAMing.